Introduction: The bucolic town of Los Avilos in Surrey County is a little more than 100 years old. If a visitor wants a sense of the local history, but his tavern, built in 1886, is the place to go. One of many monuments to a bygone era, it was a stagecoach stop where guests stayed overnight during their journeys, but when the only mode of transportation was horse-drawn carriage. It also became a non-stop point for the Pacific Coast Railway narrow gauge line constructed in the 1880s. When travel by land along the coast ranged from difficult to impossible, its zenith it reached over 75 miles from what was once Upper Wharf in St. Louis Bay, south by Los Altos. Passengers spent the night at Manny's before taking the stagecoach to Santa Barbara the next day. Today, the Carriage Museum is on its site, providing a visual history of the region. The original watering hole is now a charming eatery called Brothers Restaurant at Manny's Tavern. One recent day, a strange-looking man came through the museum with a boy and a girl and infant. He was accompanied by two women, senior citizens, who attended to the youngsters, maybe nursemaids. One cradling the baby in a blanket. Also present was a male assistant who appeared to be in his early 20s. His eyes darted about as if he was on high alert, vigilantly aware of his surroundings, of what others were doing in his presence. The older man, wearing a deep purple silk surgical mask, a fedora over ink-jagged black hair, and oversized sunglasses, stood before one of the photographic displays. "Prince, Paris," he called out. "Come here, look at this." The tots ran to his side. He pointed to the picture with one chalky, spindly finger, at the tip of which was wrapped a band-aid, and read the accompanying description. His high-pitched voice sounded instructive. In the middle of his reading, he admonished the boy to pay closer attention, insisting that this is important. The group moved from one display to the next. The masked man raged narrative, teaching the children to listen carefully. After the day's lesson, the small group enjoyed a bite to eat in the restaurant. While there, they laughed among themselves, sharing private jokes, yet seemed closed off from their environment, never acknowledging the existence of anyone outside their miniature world. The masked man found himself by lifting his disguise just a tad rather than take it off. The locals tried to ignore the odd containment. However, it was difficult not to stare, particularly since the children had been wearing masks too. Not just school though, just Halloween. They took them off to eat and then put them back on, once again hiding their faces. In the early 1900s, a major new rail line was built 30 miles closer to the Pacific coast. Because Los Alamos had been bypassed by it, the population of the once starving down dimwitted, however, has since been rediscovered thanks to an influx of tourists in the last 20 years. And there is an Indian reservation that gambling casino as well as a number of spas and New Age healing centers. Small and locally owned art galleries, antique stores, gift shops, banquets, and wineries flourished and restored Western-themed buildings. One afternoon, the masked man visited one of the art galleries. "Now, this one would be just perfect in the bedroom, wouldn't it?" he said to his young assistant. He held up a small oil painting of two angels floating easily above a sleeping child. The assistant nodded. Yoo-hoo! Called out the masked man. How much for this one? He and the courier conferred privately. Then the man in the disguise walked over to his assistant and whispered to his ear. Okay, very good. He finally said to the store owner, I'll take it. The operator scribbled on a piece of paper and handed it to the younger man, who then extracted a wad of bills from his wallet. He counted them off to pay for the purchase. No, wait, that's too much, said the masked man, who had been watching carefully. I thought you said it was $100, not $106 and change. There was a quick, urgent conference. What? Tax? Really in this? He managed to thinking hard. Well, okay then, he decided. Thanks anyway. He put the penny down. More negotiation. Really? Okay, good then. $100 it is. The government regarded the penny again. My God, it's so beautiful, isn't it? He remarked, picking it up. The way those children are so protected. How sweet. As he and his assistant walked out of the gallery, he turned a hollow bag to the operator. I just want you to know that I think you're a wonderful person. I just wish you all the luck in the world with your store. I'll be back soon. Los Videos is the home of about 500 horse ranch estates, Victorian-style homes, and about 2 dozen businesses. A dozen people, maybe less, call this remote and sobering place home. Fewer than a dozen of them black, actually, like unlikely resident. The only man in town who wears a mask, Michael Joseph Jackson. Figueroa Mountain Road winds upward through the lush and rolling Sinayans valley of Los Angeles. Man spells apples under a leafy old shade tree in the side of the road. He's been doing it so far years. Every day he sends with nothing to do but sells his fruit. Enjoy his day and bake in the sun. It's just that kind of place. A half mile back from the road behind Ambrosie's old gate, it's 5225 Figueroa Mountain Road, a massive Danish-style split-level farmhouse. Its brick and masonry walls crisscrossed with wooden beams. This is where Michael Jackson lives. This 2,700-acre property, originally a ranch for farming dry oats and running cattle, was once known as Sycamore Ranch. It came in the market at $35 million. Michael purchased it for $17 million in May of 1988. He then changed the name to Neverland Valley Ranch. Neverland for short, in homage to Peter Pan's Neverland. The first order of business for Michael was to build his own amusement park on and Creech, including a merry-go-round, giant sliding board, really on its own train, and even a Ferris wheel. With his kind of money, could pretty much do anything he wanted to do, and he would do it all at Neverland. Michael's corner of the world is marginally green as far as the eye can see. Old-fashioned windmills dot the landscape. There is an elegant softness to the grandeur. Thousands of trees gently shade simply manicured grounds which include a 5-acre man-made lake with a soothing, never pummeling 5-foot waterfall and a graceful, innovating stone bridge. It is here, amidst the infinite size of our farm, rolling and general countryside, that Michael Jackson has created his own environment, a safe haven for him from an ever-pressing, ever-difficult world. 2,000 miles east, in the grimy industrial city of Gary, Indiana, there is a small 2-bedroom, 1-bath brick and aluminum sided home in a corner lot. The property at 2300 Jackson Street is about 100 feet deep and 50 feet wide. There's no garage, no landscaping, and no green grass. Thick smoke funnels upward from nearby factories and envelopes the atmosphere in a way that makes a person breathing in such air feels just a little sick. Joseph and Catherine Jackson, Michael's parents, purchased the home in 1950 for $8,500 with a $500 down payment. This place, primarily in a black neighborhood, is where Michael Jackson first lived as a child with his parents and siblings, Maureen, Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Latoya, Marlene, Janet, and Randy. Like most parents, Joseph and Catherine wanted their children to succeed. In the early 50s, the best they could do was two bedrooms and one bath for 11 people. Clothes and shoes bought in secondhand stores. They hoped that when the youngsters graduated from high school, they could find steady work perhaps in the mills, unless they could do better than that. However, when the Jackson parents discovered that some of their kids had musical talent, their dreams expanded. The boys with the surprising musical dance abilities will win contests. They decided and be discovered. After the sons cut their first records, the imaginings of the parents grew more grandiose. A sprawling estate in California, servants at their beck and call, expensive luxury cars for everyone, three-piece suits, diamond rings, and great power for Joseph, mink coats, jewels, and a better social life for Catherine. They fantasize about flipping their television and seeing their celebrating children perform their number one hit songs for an appreciative world. As a result of the boys' fame, they figured the entire family would be recognized, sought after, asked to pose for pictures, sign autographs. They would all be stars. What a great world it would be for such of them. No worries. Everything taken care of, and by their good fortune. Was it too much to ask? It certainly seemed like a good idea at the time. However, as proverbial wisdom has it, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it.